Good evening, everybody. Many times in life, we walk right past gold mines and we don't even realize it. Everything you need is right there. It is available. You could take it. But ignorance blinds us from seeing opportunity. And it's not only places. There are moments in life filled with kedusha, filled with holiness, filled with spiritual opportunity. And we don't understand the magnitude of the moment we're living in. The greatest example of this is Purim. Purim is the day of maximum kedusha, maximum opportunity, and so many people walk right past this gold mine without realizing what they're holding. I'm going to share with you an unbelievable Shulchan Aruch, an unbelievable halacha. The Shulchan Aruch teaches that a person must try to daven with a minyan. And the Mishnah Berurah brings the Rabbi. If someone is in prison, God forbid, chas v'shalom, and he's given one single day to leave and to go and daven, go and pray with a minyan, which day should he choose? So the Rabbi says, go immediately. Do not delay mitzvot. And then he says a very powerful line, that this already shows us how big Purim is. He says, do not wait for Yom Kippur, which I assume that would have been the answer by probably 99.9% of the Jews, thinking that that's the holiest day. Do not wait for Yom Kippur or Purim. Purim is mentioned in the same spiritual category as Yom Kippur. The days people sometimes reduce to noise, costumes, chaos, are among the holiest days of the year. I have to share with you a very important rule. The Ramban teaches us that the more holy something is, the more the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, attacks it. The Beit HaMikdash was the holiest place, and it was destroyed. The sacred intimacy of marriage attacked in the world. The more sacred something is, the more it is targeted. And Purim, maybe the most misunderstood Yom Tov we have. It should look and feel like Gan Eden and the Kodesh HaKodashim, the holiest day and the holiest place. Instead, sometimes it feels like a Gehenna, like hell. It looks terrible and it feels like a chaos. People get drunk, people lose it. Certain things that people would never do, all of a sudden Purim became the day that everything's permitted. We drink. I'm not saying we should do this. But go out there and see people drink until they basically lose it completely. And they start smoking and they start having huge parties. What is attacked the most is usually what is most powerful. How come people don't get drunk on Rosh Hashanah? All the religious people be like, no, God forbid. What do you mean Rosh Hashanah? I have to pray. Well, I have big news for you. The Mishnah Berurah didn't even mention that if this person that was in jail will get one day to go and pray with a minyan, he didn't even mention Rosh Hashanah. The rabbi will come to jail and blow the shofar for him in jail. The Mishnah Berurah mentioned Yom Kippur or Purim. So Purim definitely It's one of the holiest days, if not the holiest, and especially for prayer. How come all year round, if you walk in a very religious place, you're not going to see people drunk all around the place and, excuse my language, throwing up and looking miserable? But then all of a sudden Purim becomes the day that they let out all the animals. Remember there was a song, Who Let the Dogs Out? Who let the dogs out? They let out all the dogs, they let out the animals from the zoo, and they come out from their cage, and there you go, bunch of behemoths, bunch of animals, acting disgusting and doing terrible things. How come all year round we don't have that? And in the holiest day of the calendar, we see that it gets ruined the most. The answer is very simple. The Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, doesn't mess with little things. You know, to have a fellow getting drunk on a regular mincha, don't misunderstand me. Every mincha is super powerful. Every prayer is super powerful. But to get a bunch of religious people to get drunk on a regular weekday prayer, even the Yetzer Hara says, no. The Yetzer Hara speaks Yiddish, you should know. No. What's the big deal? But if I can get most religious people not to daven the holiest and most important mincha of the year, which is what happens usually. They get so drunk, by the time mincha comes, they're out. And this was the most powerful, amazing prayer. And these people that pray all year long, they miss the most important prayer. Why? Because they're drunk. Because they lost it. They're out of it. My mashgiach, when I was in yeshiva in Israel, I came over to him right before Purim. And I asked him, Rabbi, I want to get some chizuk, some words of inspiration for Purim. So he told me something amazing that every single year I remember it before Purim. There's an halacha, a Jewish law that says about Purim, En medakdekin, you don't check into details. Kol haposhed yad notnim lo. Whoever asks you for a donation on Purim, give him. You know, all year round, you're like, who's this fellow? Does he really need the money? Is he reliable? Why is he asking me for money? On Purim, a person comes and asks you for money, you give him the money. You don't have to give him everything you have, but give him something, give tzedakah. I remember when I was in South Africa, when I was in Joburg, Aish Torah. So I stayed by myself in shul after prayers, after everything. All the rabbis had left and I was by myself in shul. And then all of a sudden, a guy that came collecting, he walked into shul. And I was the only guy there. And I'm like, where are all the rabbis? 7 rabbis, Aish Torah, Johannesburg, and all of a sudden I'm the only, they left the Mexican rabbi alone here in shul. So he came and he said, I came to collect, but I see that no one's here. And I felt so bad for him. I had a few rands in my wallet, but I felt so bad for him. I told him, listen, I'm going to give you literally everything I have over here. So always in my talit bag, I keep coins that I put in the tzedakah box every single day by shacharit. Actually, I give twice. I give before I start praying, before I walk into shul. I pay for my entrance, and I give tzedakah, and that gives a lot of power to the prayer. And number 2, before the Amidah, it's brought down that you should give 3 coins. The Arizal brings down from the Kabbalah, it's good to give 3 coins to tzedakah, and that gives even more power to your prayers. So I always keep, here in America, I keep quarters. Back in the days, in South Africa, I used to have 50-cent rands, coins, in my talit bag. And I had lots of them. I mean, just to give 50 cents of rent, it's not much. So, but I used to do it, symbolically. So I took all the coins that I had, poor man, now he had to carry all my coins. I said, listen, I'm not lying to you, this is everything I've got, take it. That's how it is. You don't ask questions. Someone asks you for something on Purim, You gotta give him. So my mashgiach told me, you should know Shmuel Mordechai, that's my Hebrew name, that applies to us as well with Hashem. The rest of the year, you ask for something, so they start checking, how well are you behaving, how are things by you. You don't get freebies. They don't give it out to you right away, just like that. But there's one day in the year where en medakdekin, they don't check. You ask for something, they give it to you. When is that? Purim. How ironic that this day being the only day in the entire year that you get whatever you ask for is the only day that most people miss that prayer because they get wasted and they act in a very unnatural and terrible, horrifying way by just getting drunk, wasted, and missing out this great opportunity. I always tell people, imagine the CEO of Chase. He calls you one day and he says, listen, I've got a big safe in Manhattan. I want you to come over. I'll give you just 5 minutes. Walk in, take out whatever you want. 5 minutes is more than enough, trust me. 5 minutes in that safe and being able to take out. Imagine a person, he gets so excited that he says, you know what, such an opportunity, I gotta have a lechaim. So he drinks one lechaim and another lechaim. By the time he gets to Manhattan and he gets to the safe of Chase, he's so drunk, he's wasted, so he cannot even stand on his feet. And he keeps on trapping and falling. He throws up all around the place. Then he goes to the office of the CEO. He throws up on top of him. He cleans himself with his tie and his suit and his jacket. And he says, listen, today it's been hard for me, but can I come back tomorrow and we'll do the same? You idiot. You lost the biggest opportunity. Why? Because you got so excited and you made a few lechaims, more than a few lechaims. And you got drunk in a way that you were not supposed to. So that's what the Yetzer Hara does. The Yetzer Hara says, these people really want to get drunk all year round. So one day a year, and the most important day, and with the most important prayers, I'll convince them to get drunk and to miss the biggest opportunities. Now, you're going to tell me, Rabbi, but if they do drink on Purim, they didn't make it up. Obviously, there is an halacha or something about drinking on Purim. Of course, I'll tell you what it says. The Gemara says, Chayav inesh lebesume bepuraya ad delo yada ben arur Haman lebaruch Mordechai. A person is supposed to drink on Purim and to get happy. You know, when you drink some wine, you feel happy. Not wasted, not drunk. You should drink and feel happy on Purim until you cannot tell the difference between Arur Haman and Baruch Mordechai. Now, what does this mean? Number one, why in the world would our rabbis tell us, drink, go drink on Purim, knowing that this is so dangerous? And number two, how do you measure when you got to the point that you cannot tell the difference between Arur Haman and Baruch Mordechai? Do they test you to see how much alcohol you've got? We must drink. That's what our sages tell us. Until we don't know the difference between cursed is Haman and blessed Mordechai. Why? If this were a day of fasting, I would understand. After explaining to you how holy this day is. If this were a day of learning all night, I would understand. But drinking? On the holiest day? So I'll explain to you, and perhaps for the first time in your lives, you'll understand what this beautiful mitzvah is all about. I'll explain to you what our rabbis wanted from us, and what Purim is supposed to look like. All year long, we calculate. Why did this happen? Why didn't that happen? What will be with Parnassah, with my wealth? What will be with health, family, the world? We analyze, we control, we drive. And once a year, Hashem says, stop. Stop calculating. Stop trying to control everything. Let go. Let me drive. I'll tell you something amazing. Arur, Haman, and Baruch Mordechai have the same numerical value. Some people, even without being drunk, they wouldn't figure it out. So you don't need to drink much in order to figure that out. They have the same gematria. But the message is, we make so many calculations, we get so worried about things. Obviously, during the story of the Megillah, I'll speak about it in a second. People were so nervous. What's going to be? Will Mordechai save us? Will Haman finish the entire Jewish nation and he'll kill us? What's going to be? Hashem says, don't make calculations, don't worry. There's no difference between Baruch, Mordechai, Arur, Haman. I'm driving. I'm taking control of things. I'm running the show. So now, if that's the case, practically speaking, how much do you have to drink? You don't have to get wasted. You're not allowed to get wasted. Forget about missing out the most important mincha. You're not allowed, according to halacha, to pray, to daven, if you're drunk. And you have the Suda, and after the Suda, you must make Birkat Hamazon. Birkat Hamazon, the blessing after having a meal, is Deoraita. It comes from Torah origin. So you're obligated from the Torah to say Birkat Hamazon. If you're drunk, you're not allowed to say Birkat Hamazon. So you don't have to get wasted, and you're not allowed to get wasted. You don't have to lose your mind, and you're not allowed to lose your mind. That is not the mitzvah. Rather, even if you only drink enough alcohol to reach I had to learn this for my driving test, by the way. It's part of the huge Megillah of the DMV. 0.08. They get, there you go. The doctors know better. To reach a blood alcohol concentration, BAC, of 0.08% or higher. 4 to 5 drinks for an average sized male. And remember, the mitzvah is with wine, not with liquors. Because the whole party with Vashti and the party with Esther HaMalkah and Achashverosh and Haman, everything was with wine. So how much do you have to drink to get to that point? Then legally, after drinking enough wine that you are happy and you are already holding by 0.08% or higher, when legally you are not allowed to drive, you finally reach the message of Purim, which is, Ribono Shel Olam, there's a rule, don't drink and drive. If I'm drinking today, I'm not driving, you're driving. You don't have to lose control. You don't have to lose consciousness. You just have to reach the point where you remember, I am not the driver of my life. Where you remember that Hashem is. Because on Purim, Hashem is teaching us, be happy enough, be spiritually free enough to let Hashem drive your life. Hashem runs the show. Hashem controls the story. Hashem controls the endings, not you. Look at the Megillah. Everything looked dark. Esther taken, Haman planning genocide, and then V'na'afochu, everything flipped. And that is life. Our lives are like that. You never see the full picture. And you're so worried, then all of a sudden, V'na'afochu, everything flips. Just like everything flipped by the Purim story. And you realize that there is a hand behind the curtain. And there is a hand pulling the strings. The world is not random. It is not chaotic. It is not ownerless. There is a director behind the stage. There is a master of the orchestra. There is a father running the story. And he is perfect. I'll tell you what I personally do on Purim. And I got this from my Rabbi, Rabbi Yitzchok Berkowitz Lita, the Rosh Hashiva of Aish Torah, who I got my smicha, my rabbinical ordination from. He used to tell us every year before Purim, take your glass of wine and share with everyone your tsaros, your tsarot, what's bothering you. You know what you're struggling with in life. All your sfekot, all your doubts and everything that you feel stressed about. And you keep on telling yourself, I don't know how am I going to manage, how am I going to go through this, what's going to be. And for each one of your tzarot, for each one of the things that are bothering you, and that are making you feel depressed, and that are getting you nervous, for each one of them, make a l'chaim. Now, you don't have to finish a whole glass of wine for each one of those, otherwise you'll finish like, But say l'chaim. Say, Ribono Shel Olam, all year round, I think I'm running the show. At least once a year, I'll recognize that you're running the show. I'm not driving, you're driving. I'm worried about what's going to be with my spouse, with my children, with my job, with my parnasah, with my wealth, with my future, with my relatives, with my community. I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. Once a year, we tell ourselves, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Drink, make a l'chaim. And say, I'm happy because I know who's running the show and I know who's doing everything. So at least once a year, I'm not going to be worried. I'm going to drink, obviously, in a very responsible way, but I'm going to drink and I'm going to smile because I know that I'm in good hands. And Hashem, He's doing everything for me precisely the way it's supposed to be done and the way it's meant to be for me to have the best life possible, even though I don't see it and I don't understand it yet. But l'chaim, and let's just enjoy the moment and let's trust Hashem. So if you remember one thing tonight, remember this. Even when you cannot see Hashem, Hashem never takes His eyes off of you. You're not alone. You're not forgotten. You're not abandoned. You are watched over. You are guided. You are loved. So this Purim, let's make a l'chaim together. And let's stop driving your life. Give Hashem the keys. Trust Him. Dance with Him, cry to Him, thank Him. And live with emunah pshuta. By the way, emunah pshuta has also the same numerical value as Arur Haman and Baruch Mordechai. Which means simple emunah, simple faith. I trust you. Hashem, I'm in good hands. So l'chaim, let's enjoy it. Let's understand that. Baruch Hashem, thank God, I'm in good hands. Because in Hashem's hands, everything is excellent. Purim Sameach, and let's have the best Purim of our lives so far. Thank you for listening.